We were planning on doing some performances as part of our normal sequence during the 2017 and 2018 tour. And in fact, we had actually scheduled a good portion of the performances that we have now. Sometime in the process of getting ready to start getting organized for the tour, basically 2 hurricanes went through Puerto Rico inside of a week's time. And I think for me, it was probably the moment when we got the first bit of footage of the island and how a lot of portions of the island were basically submerged in water. And to start reading the news about the kind of toll Maria had taken on Puerto Rico, I became very emotional.
During the hurricane and in its immediate aftermath, he was unsure of how his family was. It's been months and months since the hurricane hit, and so there aren't continuous news stories about what's going on in Puerto Rico and what still needs to be done.
The way the news cycle works, it's that, you know, something happens, like a major disaster, and then the next big thing happens, and then Puerto Rico is totally forgotten. It's not even that they're getting swept, it's like we are neglecting part of our own community.
I felt like as a group, since we were going to be on tour for most of the year, we could do something that focused on the long-term recovery process and continue to try to find ways to encourage people to keep an eye on Puerto Rico.
Having got to meet Jose and some of his family, and then when we were out on the East Coast earlier this year, having got to meet some of his friends from growing up, it just makes Puerto Rico that much closer to home. So the people that it's impacted and their families, it seems like, you know, it's just like where I grew up or where I have friends or relatives now too, instead of hundreds of miles away.
If you are from Puerto Rico, and if you have been affected by the hurricane, or if you have a relative that's been affected, or you just have a story to tell about the hurricane and your experience with Hurricane Maria, there's also an option there that's called Tell Your Story. And we want to hear from everyone. And what we're going to do with that is basically feature some anecdotes that are coming in from Puerto Rico, as well as demonstrations of support from our donors, so that people in Puerto Rico can see that there are those of us who are very concerned about the situation and we want things to get better for them. So I feel fortunate to be able to work with really talented people to create a project of this scale. There's just 8 of us working on all of this. We've been working nonstop for a few weeks now to help create this tour and to help create all of the promotion for the tour and to launch the fundraising campaign. Every member of the team, every individual, through their own perspective, had some interest in making a difference. To them, it's important that you know, that this country and the people that live in this country take the time to do something that's humanitarian and take the time to do something that shows sensitivity for fellow citizens who we don't come across every day, and most of us don't know very much about unless, you know, you're actually from there or you've traveled there or you've lived there. It's not just about raising the money. That's the most important thing, but it's also about sending a message to the people of Puerto Rico that even though the news cycle has perhaps let go of the situation that they're in, there are still individuals and groups of individuals and organizations that are very much interested in seeing them succeed. At the end of every program, we're playing 2 traditional Puerto Rican melodies. One of them is La Borinqueña, which is the Puerto Rican national anthem, and the other one is Preciosa by Rafael Hernandez, which is widely known throughout Puerto Rico. that part of the project, the musical tribute, basically what we're trying to do there is to invoke a sense of pride and a sense of nostalgia, and to show our solidarity through music.
You know, we're trying to connect the idea of a tribute concert, not just, you know, as a concert of music disconnected from the place, but really, you know, some music that's very, very integral to Puerto Rico and Puerto Rican identity.
Working on this particular tour and this particular fundraising campaign has helped me think a lot about my place in this country and my background and my roots. It's a difficult world out there, and when you're trying to get ahead, I think it's easy to latch on to this mentality that you always have to come first before anyone else. And the one thing that I have to say to that is that, you know, mi nombre es José y yo soy de Puerto Rico. And in Puerto Rico, the values that I learned from my family and from my friends is that you better yourself so that you can improve the lives of other people. And I think that working on this tour has really helped me find a sense of balance that is more in keeping with the values that I learned growing up.